Well, now we want to make some CSS drop-down menus. I had a client and he was using CS6. And for years, the CS versions, they had the spry menu bars. And you go in there and you do a bunch of JavaScript. And, you know, it gets real handy. It's like a remote control TV. You punch here, plug this in there, throws all this JavaScript in. You don't know what that's doing. But it was handy. It did the job. I found every client I ever had that ever used the spry menu bars, it was very challenging for them to get the menu items to have their colors that they wanted, and backgrounds, and where the menu showed up, and control. But now, Dreamweaver CC, there is no spry drop-down menu. I mean, it's gone. It's all about CSS now. And I found a real basic CSS script at this place, codetricks.com, simple CSS drop-down menu. Thank you very much. And, you know, I downloaded it, looked at it. I thought I would share it with you. It's a real easy way and faster and cleaner than JavaScript, and it's code that will make sense to you. I'm going to show you how it works. I've made the files downloadable at sillybilly.com, cssdropdown.zip. So here we go. I'm still working with this document from Hovermania, and I got all this stuff going on. I dropped in a menu bar here, and you know, you got a little hover effect going on with the list items in the menu. But then when I come over here, well, cool, we got a nice little drop-down menu going on. We've got all the links all linked up. I mean, it's pretty easy to put together. So let's see how we do it. The code, the HTML code, is very basic. Right, for me, after the header tag, I just dropped in a list item. I gave it an ID name called drop. And notice that all of my links are in list items. Home, directions, But after contact us, notice that we open a list item, but unlike these, it doesn't close right away. What we do here is we put a list in a list item. We create a new list, give it a new class name of submenu, and then we just put in a list within our list. That's about it. That's all the HTML you need. And notice how all of this stuff is indented, so it makes sense to us, kind of, sort of, like, and of course, all of these tabbed spaces are unnecessary. And of course, we tab in like that so that it makes sense to us for when we come back to edit next month. So, and the funny thing, or the great thing about this is, like, if I take this sub menu here, it's very simple. I'll take this submenu here that's in a list, the submenu, copy it, come down here, it's a list in a list. So I'll just come down here. This say we want to put a submenu in the directions area. I'll paste it in, maybe highlight it and tab it in, move it over, go back to design mode, directions. Here we go. We've duplicated the list. So you can see, you can rewind and see what I did. But it's very simple once you get into control of what's going on. Now, if we go into the CSS is pretty straightforward. I believe over at the simple CSS Drop-Down Code Tricks.html, their menu was called, they called Drop Menu. I just changed the name to Drop, and I float it left to make it 1,000 pixels wide, give the entire thing a background color. Then notice we talk to the various unordered list items, the anchor tags, and you can go through and look at the code. I found the important element is where we set the width of the list item. Each for every little title that you saw, each one, of course, these are all list items. So mine's 1,000 pixels wide because of some margin areas I have going on. I set the width of each list item at 196, text line center, background color, and then I plugged in a little hover effect for each list item so it turns red upon rollover. But if I go in turn live mode off, notice here, this is where they stack up, because that's the default setting for a list. The default setting of a list is vertical, of course. We want it to be horizontal. And we take care of that. Up here, inline, if you download the zip file, we get rid of the bullets, list style type none, display, inline, that makes it horizontal. But the funny thing is, and we have a video about display block, display none. It's so much fun, it's so important, because down here at the very bottom of this code, you'll find hide menu, show menu. And notice the sub menu right here. The unordered list sub menu that's in our HTML, we started out with display none, which makes it not visible. We set the position, the width of it, given its parent. But then on hover, which is just so cool, on hover of our list item, the sub menu, we display block, which means make what we've made invisible from Jump Street visible on hover. And if we go back into our HTML, then you can see, well, yeah, it's just sitting out here as plain as day. But by using display none and display block, we can turn it on and off to make it visible or invisible. So this is very clean code, very manipulatable code, easy to work with. Download the sample files at sillybilly.com, CSS Drop-Down Menu.zip.